Hey Indian Hills, this is Mrs. Sandersfeld-Miller, your teacher librarian here, and we have some new books. We're going to start off with some graphic novels. So the first one is Run and Hide, How Jewish Youth Escaped the Holocaust, and it's by one of my favorite nonfiction graphic novel authors, Don Brown. And so it is based on all true stories, and he tells it in a graphic format. So you have a little bit of history, but in an interesting format. Look on the bright side, this one is the sequel to Go With The Flow, which was on the Iowa Teen Award book list last year. And so it's the same author, same girls, just continues their story. The next one is Yaki Delgado, and this one is a story about bullying, obviously. So it's about a girl who has no idea what she did to this other girl, but for some reason this other girl is her bully. And then Buzzing is another graphic novel, and this one is about a boy who has obsessive compulsive disorder. And so he is trying to go through treatment and trying to get help with that. Up next, we have a couple of biographies. So the Bodyguard Unit, this one is one that is told in graphic novel format. So it is a biography, it is a true story. There's a little bit of background in there, but it's told in a graphic novel format. And it's about women in England trying to gain the right to vote. So you can see there, votes for women. They were often met with violence and people trying to get them to stop protesting and trying to arrest them. And so some people started up a group to learn jujitsu and self-defense so that they could fight back against these people who were trying to silence them. They just wanted the right to vote. They wanted the right to peacefully protest, but when they weren't allowed to do that, they decided to fight back. And then Vision is a story of a girl who was born prematurely and her eyes did not develop. So she was born blind because of how early she was born. And it's the story of how she has become a singer. So people maybe thought that she would have limitations in her life, but she showed them that just because she couldn't see, she could lead a normal life. And this one does have a yellow sticker. It is a quick pick one. So it is a nice short one, not too many words on pages, and the chapters are nice and short. Next up are some new nonfiction books. So Smashing Stigma is a book about all kinds of different stereotypes and prejudices. So it's about prejudices against people with addiction, with mental health issues, people who don't have homes, all kinds of different things like that. So Smashing Stigma. The next one is Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X, The Fatal Friendship. That one is a nonfiction book about these two who were friends and then something happened. One turned their back on the other one. So it's kind of a story of betrayal. And then of course we all know that Malcolm X was assassinated. So a little bit of interesting history behind all of that. How to Train Your Skateboard. We have one of the best skateboarding parks in the United States in Des Moines, Iowa. So there's some great things about learning different tricks and different stuff about skateboarding. Lots of illustrations in that one too. And then we have a bunch of new factology books. These books are just really cool. They have tons of illustrations and fun facts. So not a ton of words on a page, just kind of some short little blurbs here and there. So we have one about the human body, one about bugs, one about ancient Egypt, and a factology space book. And then last, we'll end up with some new fiction books. So Resball is a sports fiction book. It's about a boy, I believe the book takes place in Minnesota. He lives on a reservation and his team, his high school, has never ever made it to the state basketball tournament. They've always been close in the past, but they've never actually made it to the state basketball tournament. So when his older brother is killed in a tragic accident, he kind of wants to take his brother's dream of going to state basketball and he wants to run with it. So he wants to also go to college and play in college and be in the NBA. So he has big hopes and dreams. The Evers Forever 12. This one is a book about kids at a special boarding school. And there's these girls there that are 12, but even though they look like they're 12 years old, they're actually centuries old and they actually have some magical, mystical powers. So that's kind of a little bit of magic in it too. It Found Us, good creepy book. It's about a girl who follows her brother to a graveyard one night, and his brother's friend disappears, and they're afraid that it has something to do with some trapped spirits in the graveyard. The Last Girls Standing, it's about some girls who were counselors at a summer camp when a massacre happened, and all of the camp counselors were killed except for these 2 girls, and the 2 girls bond over this issue, but they kind of start to wonder if they can trust each other or if one or the other was somehow involved in the massacre that happened. Treasure Island is about a kid in New York City looking for some treasure, so good, fun, like adventure, solving mysteries, looking for clues type of book. Green by Alex Gino. It's about Green, who doesn't get a part in the school play, but they sign up to work on the crew because their crush is part of the crew, and they have no idea if their crush has any feelings towards them, so they want to work to kind of secretly find out if there is anything between them. I Loved You in Another Life. This one is another love story type of book. It includes some past lives, and so across all of these different past lives, these 2 have always found each other and fallen in love. True True is a book about a boy who gets into a prestigious private school. So now he lives in Brooklyn, I think, and he has to leave his little area of Brooklyn and go to a different part of New York City to go to this private school. But he finds out that just because he got into the private school doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be treated equally as some of the other students in the school, and he decides to take action and try and change that. And then The Wild Robot Protects. This one is book 3 in the Wild Robot series. So that one just came out. So if any of these books look good to you, go ahead and come to the library to check them out, or visit Destiny Discover to put them on hold.